First and foremost, having a teacher is very important. That's the first thing. Number two is, how do you take knowledge? Okay, and remember it. That's a great question. Um, okay, first and foremost, let's just say you have a lesson with your teacher. Before that lesson, read what you're going to take in and study with the teacher. Okay, read it. Let's just say you're studying a specific book on fiqh, or whatever the case is. Read the text that you're going to study. Okay, read it before your class so you have an idea of what's going to come in this lesson. Another thing is, I know I'm mentioning more general things because you specifically asked about how to take in knowledge and remember it, but no problem. It's kind of connected. Another thing is, what some students tend to do is, if they're studying a specific work, they'll have like different explanations of that book whilst they're studying with the teacher. That is absolutely wrong, man. Because what happens is, they may be studying a specific book, like Arawd al-Murbi', for example, and then they'll bring like a specific hashia of the book. Is basically, a hashia is like this extra details and stuff in the footnotes. So what they're doing in the lesson, they're just looking at all these different things, and it messes with your brain, and you're not studying that specific hashia. If you're not studying that specific hashia or that specific explanation of that book, there's no need for you to have it in the lesson. It's just going to confuse you. You're going to be looking at different things. You're going to be like, my sheikh didn't mention this, and all these problems happen. So just stick to the text that your teacher's teaching you. Okay, people ask what's the best explanation of this book and that book. The best sharh is the sharh of your sheikh. Okay, the best explanation is the explanation of your sheikh that he gives you. Okay, now after the lesson, try to review that lesson as soon as possible. Okay, actually, let's go back to the lesson. Of course, you're going to take your notes and etc. Don't write down every single thing. Some people try to do that, but you have the sharh, you have the book in front of you. You don't have to write down every single thing. Some of the things are going to be mentioned in that book. If you're studying a specific sharh, a lot of what you're taking in is there. You just have to understand what that means. So you don't have to write down every single little thing, okay? And also, don't write in your book except if your sheikh tells you write something specific in your book, meaning the actual text that you're studying. Because you should have a notepad that you write in, because you might write something which you may need to review and correct afterwards. And if you write that in the actual book that you're studying, that's problematic. But if you do it in the notepad, no problem. It's not going to harm you too much, right? Unless the sheikh tells you, write this in the actual text, then no problem. Because you have to listen to what your sheikh says. Okay? Now, after the lesson, try to review that as soon as possible, whatever you studied. As soon as possible. Because the longer you delay it, the more you're going to forget. Because that information is like at the front of your brain. You want to push it to the back, right? Basically, you want to send it to the long-term memory. Right now, it's sitting in the short-term memory. It's going to go quickly. So you have to memorize it. So you have to repeat it so that it stays retained. And the longer you delay doing that, the harder it's going to be to remember it, and you're going to end up forgetting, etc. How do you remember knowledge? Summarize it. Those notes that you have another notepad that you summarize everything on, and just regularly review it, or have a specific text that is a comprehensive text in the science that you're studying, in which you basically use to write down all the benefits of that specific science in that one book. So every time you want to review that science, you have one book for it. You see. So there's many other things that can be mentioned, but that's some of the ways of doing it. And be consistent in revision. You don't have to revise so much. If it's reached your long-term memory, you can revise 15-20 minutes a day, and consistently like that, 30 minutes. Alhamdulillah, it will stick. Yeah, and try to, there's many other things you can mention. The video is going to get too long. Wallahu alam.